Hi humans, how are you doing today? How was your day 5? Day 5 for me was pretty good, pretty chill. And then I had some alone time. I had some quiet time to really kind of dig deep inside of me. And I like to have my time with the Lord in the evenings at nighttime when the world shuts down. That's when I like to kind of get in, give my time to the Lord. And I feel that what I do in the evenings is what I end up processing all day the following day, is what I end up most importantly trying to apply it to my life the following day. I think about it all day. And so yesterday, the last thing we talked about was what love is and what love isn't. And we talked about how love doesn't keep records of wrong. And I spent the whole day thinking about that. What does that mean? What does that look like? I researched a little bit about it. I looked into some commentaries. I just wanted to stay there. And what I've realized that in these past 5 days of seeking God and getting closer to God, I've learned, recognized, and I know many of you that do know me know that I've said it multiple times, that how life is just so fast and I'm going. I've even shared it on here that it's hard to stop my mind from going to places and spaces and thinking. And I've realized that I do that a lot, even with the Word of God too. Like I feel like, oh my God, that was it's a great chapter. Let me read the next one. Or that was a great sermon. Let me listen to another one. Or that was a pretty awesome podcast. Let me listen to something else. Like constantly putting words, even if they're word of God, especially if they're word from God, like I'm constantly pumping that in. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this moment of seeking God, like genuinely seeking God, I have come to the understanding and realization that the only way that I can seek God is to be totally vulnerable and to totally be open in who I am. I think it's easy for us to say, well, this is who I am and this is how I am, and I've become what I am because of what I've been through, and I'm a result of my environment or a result of my circumstances, all of that. It's easy to get to that space and it's easy to live there. But it's not easy to be able to say, well, this is the character of God. This is who God is. And because this is who God is, and this is who God is towards me, this is the way God is for me, with me. And so I think that I have come to that space where I'm just like, well, it's easy for me to admit who I am and how I am, but it's not easy for me to accept who God is and how He is towards me. So just trying to find the balance between that tension and trying to resolve that tension. So I've decided to kind of stay where I was at yesterday, where the word said that love does not keep records of wrongdoing. And there's different translations. There's different ways that it says. There's some that says it keeps no record of wrongdoing, does not take into account the wrong suffered, keeps no record of being wronged. So it says it in different ways, but I wondered, why did God keep me in that space? Like, why am I still thinking about that? Why is that still pondering in my head? Why is that? And I remember I was talking with you guys and I recently said that to me, God sometimes sounds like my own voice. And sometimes I find myself like, is that God? Is that me? But then I realized, even today, I was just sitting there and that verse just stayed in my head over and over and over again. And I kind of was a little bothered by it because I was just like, but I don't hold any grudges. That's not the type of person I am. I don't hold offenses. I don't do that. I don't keep that stuff in. I just kind of like, it happens, let's keep going. However, because I am trying to seek God and I'm trying to be very transparent and I'm trying to go before the Lord, like, this is who I am, and a couple of days ago I was reading about Jonah and I loved God's boldness when God said, arise, get up, go to the city. And that boldness that God had is part of his characteristics, part of his attributes of who he is. And I've always asked God to give me that boldness to be able to spread the gospel. Give me that boldness to call things out that are not right. Give me the boldness to stand for what I believe in, even if no one around me does. And because I felt strong in that conviction, strong in that stand, when I was thinking about love does not keep record of wrongdoing, and why would that stay in my head if I am a very strong person, I'm a very bold person, like, what is happening that it stayed in my mind? And so I wrestled with that today. I wrestled with that in my heart. And I love whiteboards. Those of you that know me, I like to brainstorm and just write words and just take everything that's in my mind and just put it on the wall and look at it and process it. And I kind of did that on paper, and I realized something about myself. I realized that I have some stuff in my heart that I've been processing that I didn't realize we're processing, things that I need to work through. And it was humbling to admit it. It's humbling to admit, to say, hey, I have some hurts that turn into fears. And I was not being able to be bold, and I haven't been able to respond a certain way or react a certain way, or when I'm doing certain things, I'm very hesitant, or I think about it first because I've got some fears, and those fears have come from hurts that I've had, and those fears I didn't know were fears, and I brushed them off to being offenses that I had, that I just chose to kind of like let them go. I'm not offended. I'm genuinely not offended. But I didn't realize that that offense was disguising some insecurities that were caused by some fears that initiated by some hurts that I've had. And that hit me pretty hard. It hit me pretty hard because I didn't want to admit to the fact that some things that have occurred, some words that have been said, some actions that have been done, I let it go. I genuinely, in my heart, like I genuinely believe I've let it go. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is what people do. This is just how people are. And so I'm processing that. I'm processing what is going on. I let go of the offense. I am past the hurt. I felt the hurt. I felt the hurt in the moment, and it is what it is. I cried. I was angry. I did what I did. And so I let go of the hurt. I let go of the offense. Truly let go of the offense. Truly let go of the hurt. But the residual that has been left in my heart is some fears and some insecurities. And those fears and insecurities have really, really wreaked havoc in the last few months. And because I had a lot going on, I was physically exhausted by the end of the month of December. I was emotionally drained. It was rough. It was rough for a little bit, but my exhaustion, my physical exhaustion, led to emotional exhaustion, and that's why I've been reading that book on emotionally healthy spirituality. But I've been dealing with that. I've been dealing with some fears and insecurities that, one, I didn't know I had, and secondly, when I recognized that, hey, those things are there, I felt embarrassed about it. I felt, I can't say ashamed, but embarrassed. I'm like, me, I have insecurities. Me, I have fears. Not saying that I don't have any or that I don't ever experience that, but there's just certain things that I will admit to say, like, oof, that's a fear that I have. And I don't want nobody to know that that's a fear that I have. That's an insecurity that I have, that I don't want nobody else to know that I have that. And when I realized that, when I did my brain dumping on paper, I realized that's the reason why God kept me thinking about those, the heart does not keep record of wrongdoing. And again, brought me back to Psalms 23. And I think that that's where God's going to keep me, where it says that he refreshes my soul. Psalm 23:3. He refreshes my soul. So I'm praying that as my soul is refreshed every day, that your soul can get refreshed. Have an amazing day. Hope this fast is great.